Welcome to the Creative Tribe podcast. This is a podcast about all of the things that fuel a creative lifestyle. I'm Rita,
I'm Brian.
and together we are Label Me Other. Label Me Other is our production company, and one of our goals is to create creative problem solvers. If you're a creative and this sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can look us up by The Creative Tribe. You can also find tons of amazing creative tips on our TikTok page at Label Me Other. Or if you have any questions in the realm of content creation, then feel free to drop us a line at labelmeother@gmail.com. We strive to, and for the most part, do post new podcast episodes every Tuesday. So we typically like to start our podcast off with our vent session. And this is where we get anything off of our chest that has us in a negative mood, because we believe the key to a healthy lifestyle is having the space to shake off any negative energy you may have stored within. So my vent for today is going to be lack of communication.
Mm,
I have
yeah.
discovered that this really, really bothers me. I hate being out of the loop on things or feeling like people know things that I'm just unaware of, especially when it's like universal information, like things that we should know as a department or things that we
Right.
should know as a team or institute. It just feels like things just aren't being trickled down. And so that notion of like, did you know? And then you're just like, I had no idea. I had no clue. And even more so, Brian, like when it involves me doing something and I'm out the
Yes.
loop. Ooh,
Yes. Infuriating.
yeah, yeah.
Infuriating.
It burns me up. It burns me up. And so I really honestly don't know how to open the door for better communication. Like I always try to put myself in the into the equation. Like, okay, what can I do better to be communicated with more
Hmm.
efficiently? And so I I hate to say that. I feel like we come on here all this time and bash our job, but there are moments where it's like I think certain people get like a high off of knowing information
Yeah,
that
they
you aren't
they
privy to.
they weaponize it.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
weaponize it. It's like, okay, well, and it's a control thing. It's like I'm in more control whenever I have pieces of that information that they don't have.
Hmm.
But for you and for other creatives, what I would say is at the end of the day, whoever is hoarding that information, whoever is that poor communicator, at the end of the day, everybody wants to do a good job for whatever project that communication is attached to.
Yeah.
So what I would recommend is that you go to your leadership or your manager or whoever is in charge and say, hey, you want me to work to the best of my ability, correct? And I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure they'll say yes.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, well, if you give me the whole picture, all of the communication that goes along with this, even the stuff that you think I probably shouldn't know or couldn't or wouldn't want to deal with, just
Hmm.
give me the full picture. I can do my job at a higher capacity
Yeah.
versus if I don't know all of the information, or if I'm stuck in a situation where I'm with the client and I'm tossed that information on the fly and I don't have time to think about it.
Hmm.
You're putting me at a disadvantage. You're
Yeah.
making the whole team look bad because it looks like I'm, not informed about what the project is or any other like deliverables or anything like
Yeah.
that. So if you could tell them like, hey, me knowing this stuff makes me do my job better and it makes everybody look good. It makes the whole team look good,
Yeah.
then maybe they'll be more willing to give you the full picture instead of giving you parts of it.
Yeah. And it makes me think too a little bit. This is all really fresh, obviously, it's an event, but there's another I, I think this is just my conjecture about it, but like I feel like they are sharing what they want to share
Hmm.
um in an effort to be seen as that they're shareable. Um you'll know what I'm talking about when I'm saying this, but in
Mhm.
particular, there was an email sent about a departmental purchase that was being made. And it was very much so like on the back end. And it was like, okay, just keeping you guys in the loop, right?
Mhm.
With an attachment of like an invoice and everything. And it's like, you're keeping me in the loop, but I have no clue what this is. This is just random information. And while I'm asking you to like be communicative with me, it's still like you have to do a better job of like saying, we've decided to purchase this because we think this is going to help X. Here's what we purchased. I just want to let you guys know. No, what we get is like random email keeping you in the loop. Then you got to go through yourself to
Mhm.
be, if you even feel like it, because
Yeah.
sometimes there's those days, right? Then
Yeah.
you got to go through yourself to be like, okay, what is this? What are you keeping me in on the loop for? Why did you purchase this? I still don't know why you purchased it. Like, I don't know if you saw that invoice, Brian, but it was like $2,000.
Yeah.
I go, two thousand
Yeah.
dollars on this? Like, you should have. I don't. I don't
I
know. I
mean,
don't know.
again, it's one of those situations where it's like, you should communicate. You need to communicate to your people because I think in that situation, this was something that this person really wanted to purchase and they
Mhm.
didn't want to hear
Yep.
they didn't want the back and forth. They didn't want to hear any pros or cons. It's something that they thought was cool, but they're not fully thinking through the application because this is something
Yeah.
like, okay, well, we're spending all this money and there are very few situations where we can use this type of equipment. You
Yes.
know, are you thinking about, can this be used outside of these situations? What do you need to make it work outside of these situations to where we could utilize it more? Do we need to buy speakers for this thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's something to consider, but this was something this person just wanted to push through. And
Yeah. I think
again,
so
it's like
too.
we're using money that could be utilized better somewhere else.
Yeah. In particular, this is completely personal, but on the stuff that I was talking to you about for NAB, like
Mhm.
that would have been a perfect budget to get that off the ground and rolling. And so yeah, it's just these moments where like you said, that person did not want any feedback to that. And to that you have to be like, then why should I even respond to this email? I should just completely ignore it because it's already done. Number one, this is the invoice.
It's the invoice. Like, you made that decision. You already pulled the
Yeah.
trigger.
Yeah. But going
And then
back to
now it's
like,
going to be on us to try to figure out how to, make it worth the money.
and we already own some. That was another part that was like, I'm like,
Yeah.
why can't we borrow them
Why
from,
can't we borrow it?
again, it's like these thought processes were not being completely done. And so lack of communication. And now at the back end, I really have nothing to say. But had you had said something on the front end, then I would have had plenty to say to probably steer you away from that purchase. But lack of communication. That's the point here. It irks me. It really irks me. So
I mean, and I just want to clarify more. Okay, so people who are listening,
mhm.
it's like a speaker box. One of these
Yeah.
things where you're like, you're in a conference and instead of you walking around with a wireless mic or having like a mic stand for people to come up after the presentation to ask questions, you throw around this little soft, cushy cube that has a microphone built in.
Yeah.
Um, we work the field that we work in, whenever we had these presentations, a lot of times this is not that crowd. It's not the crowd who's want to throw around the cube. This isn't like a like outreach or like a team building presentation. This is like one of those formal presentations. So you would rather, it makes sense to have a handheld mic or a mic stand for people to come up and ask questions. It's like a
Yeah.
lot of the situations they're not going to toss around this cube.
Yeah.
They're not going to toss it around.
And even going even further, it's like these events are usually paid for and sponsored by the group that's hosting them. So for our team, small team, to have this, first of all, it doesn't even make sense for it to be had on our half of the team. But to just have this in general, it's just not making much sense. It's not making much sense. I'm trying to make it make sense.
Make it make sense, right?
Yeah, right. Make it make sense. Yeah. So yeah, it's just things like that. If we could just communicate a little bit better, and then also the opportunities to this is another mini event, but the opportunities to have communication are constantly canceled, you
Hmm.
know? And so there are moments where we can come together as a team and like talk about these things, but then the meeting gets canceled. And then we're like, especially when it's like the meeting is prefaced by some things are going on in the department. We're going to talk about it in this meeting the day before the meeting or day of the meeting. We're canceling. And so then you're really like, okay, what were we going to talk about? What's going on in the department? Nobody ever informed me what kind of things are happening here.
Hmm.
And some of
Hmm.
the stuff are like big things that are going on in the department. So I'm really like, do you guys know this? Because I heard from an outside party. So do you guys know this? Do you not know this yet? Or you're not passing that down? Like, uh, yeah,
Yeah. I,
it
I,
irks me.
I, and I will say that for those of you out there who, are leadership over a group of creatives, or, you work with creatives, is that, yeah, we, at times, it may seem that we are very introverted, but we do like to communicate and talk things over as a group. I mean, that's a part of our process. It's like brainstorming is a big part of the creative process. In these meetings that you may think, oh, we could just cancel it, we don't have to talk about this. It's like these are very important in the creative's creative process. We want to talk these things over. We want to talk amongst each other. It generates ideas, it builds morality, it builds camaraderie.
Yeah.
These things are important. So don't cancel these meetings just because you may think, I mean, especially if you're a non-creative who are leading creatives, just because you think, oh, this is not really important. It's important for them.
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
cancel that meeting. Take those meetings seriously. And even if you have to have the meeting and back up and kind of step away and let your creatives talk it over, then
Mhm.
do that. But just don't cancel it. Don't just dismiss it.
Yeah. And I'll say, as a creative, sometimes we just we don't want to bother each other. So a meeting can be a perfect opportunity for us to be like, you know what, we're already here. Let me ask Brian this question that I've been struggling with and see what he
Yeah.
does for it. So it just creates opportunity for your team who may be siloed, especially if you're remote, to just have an opportunity to talk to one each other or to bring something up that they may have been struggling with. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Very very good tips there for sure, for sure.
Right.
All right, so this brings us to our next topic, which is finding your creative voice. I know a lot of times, as creatives, we're trying to figure out ways to make sure that our identity is being put out in the work that we do. And similar to Van Gogh when he's doing his artwork, you can instantly see this is a Van Gogh art style because he has his own voice in his artwork. It's there, and sometimes as creatives, it's hard to find out what works for you. And so I think for me, when I was first starting out and trying to find my voice, and I think I still am trying to find my voice, I'll say,
Mhm.
um, it was like throwing a lot of stuff at the wall, right?
Yeah.
So it was like creating things, trying things, taking risks. Quick story time. When I first started out, I was just happy to be doing anything, and I thought the easiest thing to do would be to do music videos for musicians and artists.
Mhm.
I did about 3, maybe 4 music videos before I instantly knew music videos are not for me.
Yeah.
They're stylistically really cool. You can try a lot of cool things. You can do a lot of fun stuff, but it wasn't the type of art that I wanted to produce. It wasn't like what I wanted to put my stamp on. So I
Mhm.
abandoned that route very quickly. And even in this new venture in life, trying to do TikTok, trying to find my style, trying to find my voice and how to talk, how to sound, what's uniquely me. You know how they say like with ChatGPT with Marquez Brownlee, how he you can put in to make a YouTube video in his voice and it'll
Mhm.
automatically make it.
Yeah.
It's like it's identified what makes him uniquely him and what makes his videos. And so as creators, I don't know, it's hard to find that path. So I'm curious, are there any things that you do to try to help identify your voice as a creative?
Well, I mean, it's really with me, it started out with trying to imitate. So I'm a big fan of Stanley Kubrick. I'm a big fan of Spike Lee, Quentin Tarantino,
Yeah.
Wes Anderson. And so it started with me trying to mimic them, trying to imitate them. And
Yeah.
then so over time, I would take certain elements and then I would think, okay, well, what is my twist to it? What what's something that I would do with that particular shot or that particular style or setup that I would do, that only I would do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, that kind of got the ball rolling and it kind of morphed into what I think is that I have a unique style. Now, what like you said with what we're doing now, with like TikTok is that it's very social media is very influential. So you'll
Mm-hmm.
see these people and you think, well, in order for me to be successful on these platforms, I need to look just like them.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's like everybody's doing that. Everybody looks just like them. Everybody has these hooks at the beginning. It's all based on trend. So there's this trend now on TikTok where they want to make Wes Anderson has a new movie coming out this year. So they're taking his aesthetic and they're making videos that look like Wes Anderson would have like directed it or produced it. Everything is symmetrical, the colors look a certain way,
Huh.
there's certain type of music behind it.
Yeah.
And when you see stuff like that and you see it go viral, it's like, yeah, it's really hard to like try to create your own new voice because no one you think no one is really going to like gravitate to it because it's different. It's not what they see, but you
Yeah.
know, in reality, it's like things that are different stand out, in my opinion.
It's true. It's true.
So,
Uh,
and I feel like it's better for you as a creative to kind of, yeah, you can imitate, but kind of add your own flavor to it. Try to do your own thing to stand out.
yeah. I think it's important too to note, like, it can take years to formulate like your own voice. It's not going to be something that like happens overnight.
Mm-mm.
Even if you want it, to happen overnight, it may take time for it to develop, but also it doesn't have to be like widely accepted either. I mean, you
No.
can just be quirky you put out whatever you want to put out and then let that be your style, whether people approve it or they don't. So I mean, I just know that, for me, I don't know. I've been trying certain things on TikTok in regards to creating my own voice, I guess. And because I'm just hell bent on the notion that nothing beats the information that you're giving. Now,
Mhm.
granted, we're not talking about creating a movie. You need to have some structure there that is somewhat similar to what people are used to seeing. But in regards to social media, where you can literally throw anything at the wall, I'm just determined that, or maybe the word is convinced that nothing tops the information that I'm providing you. No matter if I'm changing my shot or if I'm changing my view or if I'm doing whatever, I honestly think if this information is for you with my hook, you know it because I'm telling you, I'm calling you out. And
Mhm.
it's your choice to watch it or to not watch it. It's your choice to get the information or to be like, I don't need it, scroll. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so I'm on this thing where I'm just like I'm tossing out whatever is easiest for me to create where I know I'm giving the value if you're there to watch it.
Mhm.
So I mean it's but that just recently developed. So now I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna see how it goes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe I'll tweak it, maybe I won't, So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like you said, it's like as long as that foundation is, I want to provide value. I
Yeah,
want to provide something that people could use now, later, whenever, but I want to
yeah,
provide value. Then your approach, your style, your voice, all of that stuff, it could be as simplistic as possible. It doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as
yeah,
simple. You can just get on there and just say what you're going to say. One
yeah,
clip, and that's it. But you're
yeah,
still providing value. The content is there. What you said is providing value.
yeah, yeah.
Don't
It
overthink it.
it's so easy too to get caught up in like trying to create your voice that looks so similar. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm totally guilty of it. I have a creator I'm following now. I can't think of his name, otherwise I plug him. But he, like, the way he does his videos, it just sings to me, and I'm like, man, he's so dope. Like just watching one, I'll be like, he is so dope. He seems like the coolest person, on the planet. Like, I would love to
Mhm.
have coffee and talk to him,
Mhm.
because his voice and style is very distinct. It seems distinct to me, for him, and so I find myself wanting to mimic that or find that in for me. And maybe I have, but I just don't realize that I have, like, who knows? Like, how do you even know? That's a great question. Like, how do you know when you've arrived at your voice? When you know, like, this is identifiably Rita, this is identifiably Brian, like,
Mhm.
when does it click for you as a creator? Like, I've reached, you know, I guess my voice, my stage. So I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know, Brian.
I mean,
But
I mean, and because
journey.
like you said that you're still in the process. I mean, I'm still in the process too because how I made TikToks and YouTube videos several months ago, like back in October, is totally different than how I do it now. It's like now, it's like I know the message that I want to bring across. I
Mhm.
know that that message is going to provide value, but it's just now I'm structuring it.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's like I take little baby steps and I'm kind of structuring it and coming up with my own like style of delivery.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and and that's something that is just is going to morph along the way because at the beginning it's very bare bones. And it's like, back in like January, February, it was more like, okay, I'm gonna try to add B-roll to this. I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
make it more of a vlog style,
Yeah.
with me in different locations. And then now it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna start shooting my own B-roll. And instead of, getting just generic B-roll from like a service, I'm gonna actually, add in short films as my B-roll.
Cool.
So now telling the viewer, okay, well, today's B-roll is going to be this. Today's B-roll is going to be that. So now I could get more of myself and my creativity
Yeah.
because I like non-narrative filmmaking.
Oh
So
yeah.
the
Yeah.
B-roll is going to be pieces of my non-narrative film. So it's like I'm giving you the message, which
Yeah.
is the value, and I'm also being unique and putting my own voice into it
Yeah.
by showing these different aspects of who I am as a filmmaker and as a creative. So it's
Yeah.
just it just morphs over time.
Yeah. And I think that's awesome. And I think it goes back to, like, throwing stuff at the wall and just trying different things, and, like, seeing what works for you, and making that be Brian's voice. And, like, it's really cool when you think about it, like, how you've developed over time. Even like you mentioned, like, our earlier TikTok stuff, it's like some of those, they've been getting some likes. I guess people have been scrolling down, to the bottom
Mhm.
and commenting, and I would go back and rewatch it, and I just would cringe. I'd just be like, oh my gosh, like. But
Yeah,
the funny thing is, it's still providing value. Like,
it provides value.
yeah, no matter how I'm like, oh, that was that was rough, but you're always going to be more objective with your work than other
Well,
people,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
But it's good to see the growth because it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I was here and like look at me now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like us a year from now from doing this, it's gonna be like we're gonna be even better than this.
Yeah, which is wild.
But yeah, it's just finding your voice. It's a journey, and I just want to say that and I'm guilty of 'em of myself is that you have to not be too concerned with other people's journeys. So it's like, yeah, you may see other people who are really, really great at
Yeah.
what they're doing, but you can't get so caught up in their journey and be envious of their journey because you're on your own. You need to
Yeah.
put your attention on your journey and your development and your growth because you're going to if you keep on plugging away, you're going to get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's my belief. It's like you keep on pushing, you're going to get there. It's
Yeah.
just that your journey may be longer than other people's. Your journey may take so many dips and dives and go through so many different valleys, but you're going to get there if you keep on plugging away. So,
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think too, it's okay if you are if you take a little time and mimic people. I feel like I
mhm,
learned the greatest things when I, like, mimic styles and things that I've seen. if nothing else, you learn that skill set. So
Right.
it's okay to take that little bit of time to be like, okay, I like this person's, aesthetic. I'm going to try to recreate it, what I like, what I don't like, and then you tweak what you don't like, and then now you got your own. So I
Mhm.
mean, I feel like that's the end all be all for all creatives. It's like you find something, you tweak it, and then now it's yours.
Shape it and mold it, and
Yeah.
now it's something new. It's yours.
Pretty exciting stuff. If you guys have any tips on how to find your creative voice, anything that you have been doing in particular, then make sure to let us know in the comments below. We would love to read that. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And if you would like to follow, potentially subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or leave a review or comment if you're listening on Spotify, we would love to have that. And if you have any questions in the realm of content creation, be sure to email us at labelmeother@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening, and we will catch you in the next one.
See you.